Welcome aboard. Stay tuned and subscribe to Han Li's Wuxia Adventures for more thrilling content. Chapter 1363. Long Shi began the White Dragon tribe's unique ritual of worship. Luyin followed suit and followed suit. He really didn't understand the point of doing all this. The ancestral Mang couldn't possibly open its eyes and bestow them with power. Luyin even speculated that if the ancestral Mang did open its eyes, they would be the first to be swallowed. However, they were so small that they weren't even enough to fill the gaps between its teeth. Wait, the ancestral Mang had been sleeping all this time. Luyin felt like he had discovered the truth and was debating whether or not to tell Long Shi. After completing the ritual, Luyin asked, "Can we go now?" Long Shi nodded and looked at the ancestral Mang with fervor. The White Dragon tribe's power comes from the ancestral Mang. If I can see it awaken one day, my life will not be in vain. When will it awaken? Luyin was curious. Long Shi's gaze dimmed, but she didn't speak. What about the terror ants? We'll definitely go back the way we came and we'll run into more of them. Luyin thought of a serious problem. Long Shi squatted down and touched the soil on the ground. The ancestral Mang has been sleeping here for a long time. This soil contains its aura, and it'll be enough to deter the terror ants. That's too risky, Luyin said. You can stay too, Long Shi said faintly. If you stay, I can announce that you've been enlightened and feel the ancestral Mang's blessing. You can also avoid Bai Xiaohong's schemes. Emissaries won't dare to act recklessly here, and without becoming an emissary, you won't be able to break out of this circle. Long Shi's eyes lit up as she spoke, and Luyin quickly buried himself in the ground. I still prefer to go out. Long Shi didn't say anything else, but she seemed a little regretful. Luyin was speechless. This girl really wanted to leave him here. He didn't want to stay in this damned place. The ancestral Mang could crush him if it flipped over in its sleep one day. They came slowly but left quickly. There were no monsters or people here, and it only took them half a day to reach the place where the terror ants had been. Luyin panicked as he looked at the endless expanse of empty land. This was the terror of the terror ants. Not even a blade of grass could grow here. The terror ants damaged the mother tree a lot, right? Luyin asked. Long Shi said solemnly, more or less. The terror ants are one of Root's greatest enemies, and hundreds of experts from the organization die every year. You didn't ask for help from a stronger expert? Are the four-way scales not going to be affected? Long Shi said calmly, there are strong and weak horror ants and their reproductive abilities are unparalleled. They can't be completely wiped out. Most of these creatures in the mortal world destroy their mother trees, but they have their own ecological chain. If one of them is truly wiped out, the consequences could be disastrous. The terror ant had already disappeared. Looking at the empty space, it had gone in another direction. Due to the barren land of the terror ants, the two of them did not encounter any monsters on their way back. They were all scared away by the terror ants. Before they encountered the terror ants, they were already familiar with the path. In less than 3 days, the two of them returned to the entrance of the third zone. They saw Qi's huge body, Elder Long Kuei, and some of the people he had forced to stay. Long Kuei heaved a sigh of relief when he saw that Long Shi and Luyin had returned safely. Even though the two of them looked a little battered, it was fine as long as they had successfully paid their respects to the ancestral Mang. There were so many people at the entrance and all of them were experts. Luyin knew that Long Kuei had stopped them on their behalf. Welcome aboard. Stay tuned and subscribe to Han Li's Wuxia Adventures for more thrilling content. Chapter 1365. Long Kuei solemnly said, Don't worry, I'll be on full alert on the way to the Yin Mountain District. This won't happen again. Once I join the humble class, the boundless assassins will demand a lot more rewards, and Bai Xiaohong might not be willing to pay. Even if the assassination is successful and the humble class investigates, he might not be able to afford it. That person is unreasonable. Long Shi nodded. There was one thing they all knew, but they did not say it out loud. Even if Bai Xiaohong did not hire boundless assassins, he still had ways to deal with Luyin. Even if Luyin joined the humble class, he would still have ways to deal with him. Long Shi was in a bad mood. She was exhausted from the repeated assassinations. The more frequent the assassinations, the greater the Frigid Immortal Sect's scheme against the White Dragon tribe. It also meant that the Frigid Immortal Sect cared less about the White Dragon tribe. What did this mean? It meant that the Frigid Immortal Sect was strong enough to break the rules of the four cardinal scales. A woman appeared in her mind. It was this woman who had transformed the Frigid Immortal Sect. By Sienna, this woman was above the entire starry sky of the trees. The Yin Mountain District was a gloomy place just from its name. In reality, It was desolate and uninhabited. No one lived in this huge area because it was not suitable for living. There was a huge poisonous swamp filled with marsh gas that covered the entire area. A group of creatures that were born from this swamp lived in the Een Mountain district, making it uninhabitable. The humble class had many experts, and the Een Mountain district was the smallest of the 9 gates of the Middle Realm. They had set up a separate gate here because the area was too big. Without the Een Mountain district, the other 8 gates would take care of the Een Mountain district, which would take too much time and not be worth it. The Een Mountain district was useless, but it was a pity to abandon it. Many people thought that the Een Mountain district was a place for rich kids or those who had made mistakes. Those who wanted to make a name for themselves or were punished for their mistakes would all come here. There was only one city in the entire Een Mountain district, Een Mountain City. Unexpectedly, the city was very lively. Although there were not many ordinary people, there were many cultivators and most of them were eating, drinking, and gambling. Anything that could be done in the outside world could be done here. This city specialized in making money from rich kids. Outsiders could enter and leave Een Mountain City at will, but the humble class's headquarters in the Een Mountain district was in the black wasteland to the west of the city. Tian Ho had long since changed its physique when it had approached the Een Mountain region, and it had become an ordinary creature with the strength of a hunter. That way it would not attract any attention. They landed on the west side of Enshan City, and Lu Yin leaped down. Long Kuei said, "I can only send you up to this point. Your identity is Lin Jiangyi, so remember not to get too close to Zhuoxi." Long Shi looked at him from the back of the chariot. "Keep a low profile and don't cause any trouble. You'll be able to follow me to the top world in half a year at most. Take care of yourself during this time." Lu Yin nodded. "Don't worry, I'm an honest person." Very quickly, the Tian Ho soared into the sky and looked at Lu Yin with its 4 eyes before turning around and flying off in another direction. Lu Yin could see the pity in its eyes. This mount was really treating him like a toy. Lu Yin watched Tian Di disappear into the distance until he could no longer see it. He stretched lazily and took a deep breath. It felt great to be free. She raised her hand and contacted Lu Yin with the cloud connection stone. Lu Yin was puzzled. Long Shi had just contacted him, so why was she calling again? Was she worried about him? "Do you know who schemed against you?" Long Shi asked Lu Yin with a deep gaze. Lu Yin was curious. Who? This scheme had been flawless, and it reminded Lu Yin of Wei Rong, who could determine victory outside of the battlefield. Yu Chen, Bai Xiaohong's personal maid. "She's famous in the top realm," Long Shi said. "What condition?" Lu Yin shouted. "I want the 3 of you to be at Crimson Orchid City as witnesses. Of course, I also implore fourth uncle to be there as well to prevent anyone from cheating." "Who are you calling cheating?" Guan Yun roared. Guan Tong stopped him. "All right, we 3 brothers will be waiting for you at Crimson Orchid City in 3 days. He then led Guan Hai, Guan Yun and Yuhua Mavis out of the headquarters in the Een Mountain district. Zhuoxi looked at Lu Yin helplessly and shook his head, but he didn't say anything else. The white fatty looked at Lu Yin sympathetically. After the others left, Lu Yin found Zhuoxi again. "Hey, you're too impulsive. Don't you know how you got those contributions?" Zhuoxi reprimanded. He had always thought that Lu Yin's contributions had come from the White Dragon tribe and that Guan Tong's spies had come from the Frigid Immortal sect. Lu Yin solemnly replied, "Fourth uncle, now's not the time to talk about that. I've discovered something big." Zhuoxi was puzzled. "What is it?" Lu Yin adjusted his words. "The 3 Guan brothers might be redbacks." Zhuoxi's pupils shrank and his expression changed. "What did you say?" Lu Yin sternly replied, "The 3 Guan brothers might be redbacks." Zhuoxi's usual laziness was gone and he shouted, "You can't speak without evidence. If others hear about this, Guan Tong can sue you for slandering a fellow disciple. This is a taboo." Lu Yin replied, "I have evidence, but I need to go to the humble Huayuan school to get it. That's why I agreed to Guan Tong's bet at Crimson Orchid City." "You never planned to go to Crimson Orchid City?" Lu Yin nodded. "Please cooperate, fourth uncle. Don't let the 3 Guan brothers find out that I didn't go to Crimson Orchid City. As long as I delay them for a few days, I'll definitely be able to find evidence at the humble Huayuan school's headquarters to prove that the three brothers are redbacks. Zhuoxi fell into deep thought. Lu Yin knew what he was worried about. Zhuoxi was worried that Lu Yin would use him as a cover to escape. Fourth uncle, I'm the son-in-law of the White Dragon tribe's main bloodline, and I can't run anywhere. Losing the bet is better than having my reputation ruined. Zhuoxi nodded. Alright, I agree. Go to the humble Huayuan school's headquarters in Crimson Orchid City. I can help you delay them for 5 days, and with the current 3 days it'll be 8 days. Is 8 days enough for you to find evidence? Lu Yin nodded. Yes. Then go, don't delay. Zhuoxi waved his hand. Lu Yin immediately thanked him. Thank you, fourth uncle. After Lu Yin left, Zhuoxi looked into the distance. Since when had the White Dragon tribe's intelligence network become so powerful? They had even found out that the three Guan brothers were redbacks. This intelligence network far surpassed the frigid immortal sects. Redbacks were extremely difficult to detect, and every one of them was well hidden. How could the outside world have guessed that the humble Huayuan school's master was a redback?